Picture this: a colossal 36-foot wide, 45-mile-long tunnel deeper than most skyscrapers are tall, cutting quietly beneath California's Sacramento-San Joaquin River Delta. This $20 billion mega infrastructure project, often dubbed the Underground River, aims to reroute water from the Sacramento River straight to Southern California farms and cities, bypassing fragile river channels and delta wetlands. What is this tunnel? Who gains? Who loses? And can California afford to build its future underground? The Delta Conveyance Project is the latest iteration of California's decades-long effort to modernize its water system. Tracing back to the 1980s Peripheral Canal and later Jerry Brown's ambitious but controversial twin-tunnel water fix plan, the current proposal is an upgraded single-tunnel design. The plan calls for a massive 36-foot diameter, 45-mile-long bored tunnel running beneath the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta. That single conduit would funnel up to 161 million gallons per hour directly from two newly constructed intake facilities on the Sacramento River to the Bethany Reservoir pumping station, vastly bypassing the environmentally sensitive delta waterways that currently channel water to the California Aqueduct and Central Valley Project. Proponents argue that without the tunnel, California risks losing roughly 22% of its surface water deliveries by 2070 due to diminishing Sierra snowpack, prolonged droughts, and rising sea levels. These losses threaten water for 27 million residents, 750,000 acres of farmland, and the state's broader economic stability. Supporters paint the tunnel as a form of subterranean armor, climate resilience built in the depths, capable of maintaining secure urban and agricultural water supplies amid growing pressures and seismic vulnerabilities. In June 2025, the project remains in a meticulous pre-construction phase. The Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, MWD, one of the tunnel's strongest supporters, approved a crucial $142 million investment covering environmental studies, design refinement, and permit preparation through 2026 and 2027. MWD board members underscored the project's role as one of the nation's most important infrastructure efforts in generations, framing the commitment as essential for climate adaptation and long-term water reliability. At the state level, Governor Gavin Newsom introduced a trailer bill aiming to streamline environmental reviews and judicial appeals, targeting permit completion by early 2027 to maintain a 2029 construction start. At the same time, the California State Water Resources Control Board is conducting active hearings, and multiple lawsuits from environmental advocacy groups, tribal communities, and Delta residents challenge the depth and scope of CQA compliance, water quality data integrity, and assessment of cultural and ecological impacts. These legal challenges underscore the complex path ahead, balancing engineering ambition with environmental protection and community rights. However, for small delta towns like Hood and Clarksburg, the prospect of hosting intake facilities and construction staging zones is deeply unsettling. These areas will see constant heavy equipment, intense noise, dust, and increased traffic, with residents warning that life will never be the same. Dan Whaley, who helps operate Hood's Willow Ballroom, told Cal Matters point blank, "This will make our town uninhabitable as orchards and serene streetscapes give way to excavation vehicles and security fencing." A CBS News report reinforced this sentiment. Hood, with just over 270 residents, fears being overwhelmed by a state project with little regard for their quality of life. Environmental groups also highlight significant ecological risks that extend far beyond local disruption. The tunnel may amplify salinity, harming sensitive ecosystems and imperiling species such as delta smelt and Chinook salmon. A mere 775-acre wetland restoration plan, part of the infamous WaterFix Eco-Restore scheme, is widely criticized as woefully inadequate for offsetting consequences like algal blooms and degraded water quality. Meanwhile, scientists and conservation groups argue that the project could unintentionally concentrate pollutants and saltwater, fundamentally altering the delta's environmental balance. The project's ballooning cost from $16 billion to $20.1 billion, with projections even higher, has prompted accusations of a mega boondoggle. Critics note that inflation rates topping 10% per year and extended permitting delays mean costs could skyrocket before a single shovel turns. Restore the Delta has condemned the benefit-cost analysis as biased, accusing the state of ignoring tribal, environmental, and farmer perspectives while inflating benefits under economic pressure. Legal challenges are equally formidable. A 2024 court ruling called into question the state's authority to issue bonds for a project of this scale, indicating that existing funding mechanisms may be invalid. In mid-2025, a key Senate Budget Subcommittee blocked Newsom's fast-track proposal, citing environmental, procedural, and fiscal concerns. A rebuke from 15 lawmakers across party lines, including Delta Caucus co-chair Senator Jerry McNerney. These pressures, from rural disruption and ecosystem concerns to ballooning costs and legal gridlock, make the Delta Conveyance Project one of California's most polarizing infrastructure bets. If built, it will reshape the Delta, but whether it endures remains far from certain. California's Department of Water Resources, DWR, has positioned the Delta Conveyance Project not just as major infrastructure, but as a linchpin for the state's future survival. Their analysis highlights a 2.2 to 1 benefit-cost ratio, claiming that every dollar invested returns $2.20 in economic and resilience gains. These gains include bolstered defenses against drought, earthquake-induced supply disruptions, and greater reliability in delivering water to major urban centers and farms. DWR emphasizes that options like desalination or recycled water would cost significantly more per unit of water delivered. Recent water flow data strengthens their case. During the early 2024 atmospheric river events, California captured 909,000 acre-feet of surplus floodwater, enough to supply over 3 million households for an entire year had the Delta Tunnel already been operational. With climate change threatening up to 22% drops in water deliveries by 2070 due to dwindling snowpacks and rising sea levels, the tunnel is presented as upfront insurance, hardwiring resilience into the state's system. Cost per acre foot estimates also favor DWR's approach. Independent analysis led by UC Berkeley economist David Sunding suggests that the tunnel would deliver water at approximately $1,325 per acre foot, an improvement over alternatives like desalination, $2,000 to $2,500 per acre foot, or advanced water reuse, marking it as a cost-effective means to secure supply. DWR notes that a major seismic event in the Delta could cripple surface diversions for months. The underground tunnel avoids those vulnerabilities, ensuring water continues flowing to homes, farms, and industries without interruption. Supporters see this as more than a utility project, it's a climate shield. As Carla Nemeth, director of DWR, put it, instead of foisting the costs of this boondoggle project onto Californians, the state should invest in sustainable water solutions. Though she stressed that doing nothing carries far steeper costs, from water shortages to shuttered farms and rolling urban restrictions. California Governor Gavin Newsom has aggressively prioritized getting the Delta Conveyance Project shovels ready. In May 2025, he introduced a trailer bill to overhaul judicial and permit review timelines, targeting a clean slate by early 2027. Meanwhile, the Department of Water Resources, DWR, continues refining technical and environmental studies, complemented by over $142 million from Southern California water districts to support pre-construction phase activities. If all approvals succeed, groundbreaking could begin in 2029, launching a mammoth build-out that would take approximately 15 years. DWR projects the lift to the Bethany Reservoir, where the tunnel exits, will begin by around 2044, marking the official start of operations. This stretch acknowledges both the scale of the challenge and the technical rigor required to tunnel beneath fragile delta soils. Unlike taxpayer-funded state projects, the Delta Tunnel's costs fall on 29 local water agencies, including the Metropolitan Water District and various Central Valley providers. These entities agreed to absorb construction and debt servicing costs through water charges, not state taxes. The anticipated impact on household budgets, around $5 per month, though projected cost increases could drive that higher. To address hardship in Delta region communities, legislators mandated a $200 million community benefits fund directed toward water infrastructure upgrades, habitat restoration, and mitigation for construction disturbances like dust and traffic. According to the Sacramento Bee, this mark is a show of solidarity toward towns facing inevitable upheaval. These coordinated financial strategies and regulatory timelines reveal a deliberate shift. DWR and allies aim to pair philosophical urgency with political cohesiveness, fast-tracking a project whose price is monumental but whose consequences are judged existential. The next few legislative and community milestones will define whether California's underground river becomes a legacy or a historical footnote. California remains sharply divided. Delta farmers and residents see it as a unilateral takeover of their water and landscape. Environmentalists and tribal groups say pumping adjustments won't save struggling fish populations without major flow changes. Meanwhile, critics push alternatives: stormwater capture, wastewater recycling, groundwater recharge, and agricultural efficiency upgrades, all framed as cheaper and lower impact options. California's Delta Tunnel isn't just engineering, it's a symbolic battleground over how the state adapts to climate change. Will policymakers keep investing in shovels and pipelines, or pivot to distributed water solutions that put communities and ecosystems first? The outcome will shape water and power dynamics for generations. If you're captivated by infrastructure mega schemes, environmental trade-offs, and political drama, hit subscribe.